Oh. When I was a kid, you know what I couldn't wait to get my sticky nerd hands on? A copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 4.
Well, this is gonna be bad.
Then one day my childhood wet dream became a reality, but it wasn't quite what I imagined it to be. So this game has all kinds of problems like lazy graphics, unrolling from the ball form, and look at these loop-de-oo! But the worst thing is Sonic is always smiling all the time. It's as if he knows that he's been ruining my childhood. Whatever, not important. All you need to know is that opening up a new Sonic game from then on for me was like sitting down in a cafeteria as a kid and opening up a promising carton of chocolate milk, only to find out that a 2% facade of what you really wanted was all that was going to be going down your gullet anytime soon. And then Sonic Mania comes out, and it's like, oh yeah, now that looks good. What an incredible sight to behold. Sonic Mania was a masterpiece for everyone who wanted to relive the classic Sonic game, and it certainly brought fresh gameplay to the table without detracting from what we loved about the originals. In every single way, this game was what Sonic fans were hoping for. In every way, except for one. Now, while most people were praising this game, it still did have its critics with their criticisms, saying things like, 75% of the zones are unoriginal, playing different characters feels more or less the exact same, and the story is just utterly abysmal. Now, for Sonic Mania's experience, it's really not that big of a deal, but it does point to the big question that we've had for SEGA for a long time, and it's that what direction is Sonic going? And Sonic Mania is yet another indicator that Sonic is looking back. And the big problem with looking back is you can't see what direction you're going. At SEGA we made Sonic Forces just for you! You can make your own furry character too! Put your shit out like a Taco Tuesday joke, yeah! Wait, hold the phone just a second. Wasn't there a Sonic game that came out not too long ago that was a racing game? It was good, right?
I'm so gonna own you, Silver.
Okay.
No, you're supposed to say in your dreams, Sonic.
In your dreams, Sonic.
Oh, never mind, it's bad! Oh, it's real bad! Hey, don't worry, you keep going, keep going. It sucks, Sonic sucks, it still sucks!
Too late, the moment's passed.
So with Sonic nosediving faster than a bald eagle with an 8-pound erection, how in the world is this company gonna stay afloat? Okay, listen, if Mario had as bad a track record as Sonic did, it wouldn't even make a difference to Nintendo, because they literally have dozens of IPs that they can pull from, some of which are better than Mario. So what backup IPs does SEGA have? Oh, well, SEGA has Valkyria Chronicles. Oh, and Yakuza, can't forget Yakuza.
Moshi moshi.
Oh, and you can't forget about Phantasy Star and... Wait, all of these games are otaku only! No, that's not gonna work. What SEGA needs is a miracle game. And I don't mean just a good game, but it has to be a game that's relevant to the culture of America today. It needs to be a game that revives in us a sense of fun and imagination that you only get by playing video games. And most importantly, it needed to come out weeks ago. But hey, what's that? They already did?
Respect the police cause they hit really, really hard. You can try using your laser, but they still pin you down and rape you with that taser. Ah! Now that's a good game!
So in a minute, I'm going to explain why Streets of Rage 4 is not only just an excellent game, but it is also a game that puts my faith back in SEGA in a way that Sonic Mania couldn't. So the average player can pick up on the feeling that they get behind every punch, kick, throw, and special attack, where they sync up the sound and animation so perfectly that the player can genuinely get a felt sense of the weight that is being thrown behind their blows. But that just makes this a good beat 'em up. No, what makes this game snap my brain clean in half with how genius these developers are is stuff like this. Shut up, Germany! That was amazing and you know it! Look at how Blaze's model reflects in the pool of water just as she starts. And when she moves forward, it also reflects in the acid but in a different way. And when she punches the can away, the can also moves with the reflection. In other words, every single thing is modeled to reflect off of these pools of water to show detail. And look at this, when Blaze is just to the left of the light source, you can barely see a glistening at the front of her model. But as she moves across it, the glistening moves and matches where her model's at. Absolutely astounding in a 2D environment. And finally, look at the tofu on the floor. If she were to pick that up and it wasn't on a plate, she would die in the shittiest place possible. The attention to detail that goes on in this one clip is absolutely jaw-dropping. So Streets 4 has 5 story playable characters, and those are a hobo, a hooker, Skate, Skate's dad, and Maui from Motunui. But we're definitely the good guys. But there are also 12 additional characters that you can unlock just by playing the game, so if you ever get tired of playing the beautiful HD modeled story characters, you can always pick up these retro characters, you beautiful 90s gamer you. So the story is cool and artistic and acts as scene transitions between levels, but the best part of the story has got to be this right here. But what easily makes this game so damn good
is the inclusion of the weapon catch maneuver. Throw any weapon at an enemy and, if it makes contact, it will bounce back and give you a split second to catch it and keep whacking away. Like Gears of War's active reload time button press mechanic, there's a rhythm to master, but once you've done so, it's completely rewarding.
Bad IGN! Bad opinion! Now obviously what makes Streets 4 so good is the fact that your combat loop is way shorter. In old Streets of Rage games, you typically had a one-string combo that you sort of had to max out with the amount of stunning that you're doing to an enemy, oftentimes resetting that combo, but the second they get knocked out by either a special attack or by finishing your combo, they go oftentimes flying off to the side, and they take forever to get back to you. The modern style of Streets of Rage 4 keeps enemies on screen after you knock them away, and sometimes if you hit them hard enough, they'll bounce off the side of your TV and back to you so you can keep that sexy combo going. So let's talk about the difficulty of this game. If you're like a little kid or one of those ostriches that they hire to write reviews at IGN, you need to cross these 2 difficulty options off your list right now. And unless you're a straight casual, don't even think about touching this system. So picking harder difficulties in other games usually only increases enemy health, makes you take more damage, or makes Joel say shit every time he opens up a drawer. But the harder difficulties in Streets 4 mostly adds more enemies and makes them more aggressive. So unlike some games, you get more of what you want to play with, not less. But I don't want to talk about Streets just because it's a good game, or because there's a bunch of reviewers out there who don't know what they're talking about because they had 1 or 2 hours with it. But since we're on the subject...
However, for every moment of feeling like a deadly ninja, there are moments that are simply unfair due to factors completely out of your control. Annoyingly, the characters from Streets of Rage 1 don't even have special moves and must solely rely on their basic star moves from the original. As a result, they feel at odds with the new risk-reward system, and it pretty much renders them unusable on the harder difficulties. And if you're playing alone, there's little replayability on offer.
Can you imagine what the scores would be like on The Last of Us 2 or any other modern game if they were held up to the same replayability standard that this jackass wants to hold Streets 4 up to? Now I get it, Streets 4 is a pretty short game. If you want to, you can beat the story mode in about an hour or something if you're good. Now frankly, I find this game extremely replayable. There are multiple characters that you can play as, which by the way, IGN guy says.
These aren't just skins either, these characters have their own movesets, animations, and sound effects.
The harder difficulties are more fun to play, not less fun to play than the other ones, because it gives you more of what you want to do, which is beating up bad guys. Not like running around or just having less health or whatever. It's not just a challenge, it's a more fun experience altogether. So I specifically remember in The Last of Us, this level called the power plant. And in the power plant, you meet Joel's brother. And the first combat section that you run up to is this part where the bandits invade the power plant. But before you get to the part that's actually playing a video game, there's a lot of mandatory stuff that you have to do that is not like playing a video game. After all, it's just a short walk through the woods. I mean, except turn the crank, going for a swim, getting a raft, getting some air. Get on my pallet, Ellie! Dodging a high five. Get inside. Walk very slowly. Slap that ass! Wait, I'm good. Avoid rabies. Okay, wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it!
Alright, Joe. Let's go talk.
Yay, we finally get to play the game! Now to give Naughty Dog credit, the dialogue during these sequences are pretty good. But the problem is, if this is your replay of the game, this dialogue gets real old, real fast. In Streets 4, you select your stage, you select your character, you skip the cutscene, and boom, you are in the game, playing it, and having fun right away. So when you really think about it, IGN guy, which of these games is actually more replayable?
Hold it!
Well, actually, both games are replayable, just in different increments. Say you're going to want to play The Last of Us every 4 or 5 years to get the story again, and you're going to play Streets of Rage 4 whenever you have a buddy at the house or you've had a bad day. This kind of subjectivity is why you really wouldn't include this kind of thing in your game review. Or you just don't write game reviews ever, you just never do it. Which reminds me, the real reason we're talking about Streets of Rage 4 is because this game is a sign.
But hey, not like the kind of sign where the US Navy admits that it's always had a UFO task force. What?
Oh, they think it's just a bunch of airplanes.
Nope, this game is genuine acknowledgement that SEGA has finally realized that they suck at making video games. But what's great about that is the fact that they finally realized who's good at making them. And I don't mean like Nintendo or other such, but I mean small, independent game developers. Just look at the stuff that's come out of SEGA, putting their faith in these guys already. We got Sonic Mania. And the reason why Sonic Mania isn't better than it already is the fact that SEGA had their hand too much on it. With Streets of Rage 4, SEGA said, okay guys, you know what you're doing. We're gonna give you the keys to the castle, go make an excellent game. And that's exactly what they did. This makes me overwhelmingly excited for whatever SEGA's gonna come up with in the near future. Especially things for Sonic. I mean, can you imagine if they took the brains from Streets of Rage 4 and from Sonic Mania and they put them together and made something completely new and amazing? Something that we haven't seen in years.
I mean, take a look at this game that one of the developers on Streets of Rage 4 made. It's called Streets of Fury. I wonder where they got the idea for that name. Oh, this game is wacky! I mean, from the special moves to the green screen sprites, you can just tell that these guys had a blast making this game. And those are the kinds of people that we really want to see making Sonic games in the future.
Oh man, I would love to see how SEGA pushes this concept. You know, like the indie developers, not the green screen sprites or anything. I mean, can you imagine if they use that kind of thing for Sonic and... Wait, no, SEGA, no!
You guys are probably asking the same question. You've all been tuning in tonight to get the answer, and that question is, what is next for Sonic? We have waited so long to finally show you that. What do you guys think?
It